fight climate change and its effects, Mr. Speaker. This Council should come up with policies that will for sure mitigate the effects of climate change. Mr. Speaker, when you talk about climate change, the next things we mention or we should mention is trees. And if you remember very well, the President has always had this clarion call that we should plant 5 billion trees within these 5 years that he's in office, and of course another 5 billion when we vote him in again in 2027. But for now, Mr. Speaker, if I was to do quick maths or quick mathematics, 5 billion trees, and we have 50 million people in this country, that means it's 100 trees per person. Mr. Speaker, if you divide that by 5, because that 5 billion trees is 5 years, if you divide 100 trees by 5, Mr. Speaker, you will see that each person only need to plant 2 trees per month, Mr. Speaker. Everybody can be able to take care of 2 trees per month for the next 60 months so that we can achieve the 5 billion mark of trees in this country, as per the clarion call of our President, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've seen so many people conduct planting tree exercises, and they call hundreds and thousands of people who plant those trees. But I ask myself a question. After you plant all those trees there, who will be watering them? So, Mr. Speaker, we need to redesign how we do things. Don't plant 1,000 trees in a day, then you leave them there, tomorrow they dry. It is an exercise in futility. But if we can take that exercise of planting trees frequently, just minimal, 3, 4 per Kenyan, we will be able to achieve this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, research is paramount when it comes to fighting climate change. And you know, when you talk about climate change, it's all about food security, and of course, we secure the future of the generation. Mr. Speaker, we cannot talk about climate change without talking about food security. And when I talk about research, it's good for them to research and know why do we have drought in this nation in some areas. They should not only research in this country. Let them go back to even other countries. Even in China, Mr. Speaker. The worst drought was in China in 1964, Mr. Speaker. The worst ever witnessed. And that's why they eat almost everything, Mr. Speaker. Because at that particular time, there was no food. They could eat anything that they could come across. There's even a joke that says, the only thing that has 4 legs that the Chinese do not eat is a table, Mr. Speaker. So I would want them to do research and find out why China has never had drought again since 1964, Mr. Speaker. Is it the variety of food? Do we interest Kenyans to add more to their diet? I'm not saying that you should eat dogs and snakes and everything that is eaten over there, but is it a campaign that we should start? We get away from unga all the time and go maybe to cassava, go maybe to sorghum or any other kind of food, Mr. Speaker. So as I implore the Council, once we pass them, because we're going to do, they should come up with policies that will help this nation move forward in terms of fighting climate change. Mr. Speaker, I'm a chairman of the Roads and Transportation and Housing Committee. And we will be bringing some proposals, Mr. Speaker, that those who are given tenders to build our roads, those who are given tenders to build the affordable housing, they should have some segment whereby they will have to plant trees around that areas, Mr. Speaker. Even if you're building a road that is 1 kilometer, you plant trees 1 kilometer this way and 1 kilometer that way, Mr. Speaker. Those are the proposals that we are going to present so that we can mitigate the issues of climate change, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of this Council, and more so because of the President, this country for the first time is going to host the Africa Climate Summit. That is in September this year. Mr. Speaker,